Action! Hey, Parlay Pete, you know it's still Women's History Month?
It is.
Are,
I
are
didn't
we gonna,
forget.
are we gonna talk about women? I mean, maybe when we talk about Darren Waller getting traded and Kelsey Plum and him getting married, I don't know. We
Well, and
haven't.
her spilling the tea,
Yes, the T.
saying the reason why Josh might have felt some type of way.
I'm sure that's the reason why he got traded.
Or who knows? Or maybe she's just a woman.
Not that he has only played 17 games in the last 2 seasons, only scored 5 touchdowns, and during the bye week he was away from the team and took his fines and didn't rehab. I don't know.
There's no telling, right?
Ain't no telling. But hey, man, we missed last week. I was at a fundraiser that lasted a lot longer than it didn't last longer than I should have expected, but it lasted longer than I expected. And then I had some homework to do, and the wife and baby were asleep, and I didn't want to bombard them with a pod. Like they're asleep right now, but they know I'm recording today, so.
And you were already home.
Yeah.
You weren't coming in, and I don't know if you've been drinking. I know that you were drinking at said fundraiser, because that's what people do. It's cocktail hour. I mean,
yeah, it's hard to pass out business.
I mean, I'm not throwing your business out there or nothing.
I know, but it's hard to pass out business cards sober.
No, but
Can you hear me now?
you can do it, but doesn't it make it better if you're drinking with it? I mean,
yeah.
And obviously we're getting started a little bit later than we normally would. Help. It actually isn't even Thursday anymore. It is Friday, but at the same time, I was doing the same thing, and it was a business lead that I had for a minute that I was persistent enough about it, and the person had essentially forgotten. He didn't forget that, like, I had asked him about it, because I was like, yeah, no, like I can handle this. Like just put me in contact with them. If you're saying that they have these issues, I do. I'm friends with this person, and so like it's like I can do this. So we had to meet up somewhere, and I got to kind of get formally introduced to this stuff and got to get a blueprint on what it is that they wanted. And it's one of those things where I'm like, man, hell yeah. Like, I know how big that they're big. Like, they're a big warehouse, like Tom Ford. There's a lot of different, yes, man, like all this, like, so I'm like, yes, I want to get in. They have in their warehouse alone, they have 1,500 people. Now, that includes their workers and temps, but they have such an issue keeping temps. And then I asked about, so what do y'all pay them now? Like, went into all that stuff. So it took a little bit longer, but either way, we're here now, and we could have been anywhere else in the world, but we're here together.
Well, if somebody needs a warehouse manager, let them know. I got a resume for them.
But that's exactly who I'm talking with. I got a meeting set up tomorrow at 9 a.m. with their procurement. So that's what I'm saying. So, which I know that's what you're currently getting your master's in.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. But you know what, man? When you text me, it's like is everything? I'm like, bro, you're handling like real business.
And but like even last week, you understood. Like, it's one of those things where, and it came up. See, it'd be one thing if like I was out and I just met someone and I had this vibe. No, this was something I already knew. I planted a seed there a long time ago. And the fact that it came to fruition, I wasn't going to be like, nah, I'm busy. Well, what the fuck do you have to do better than try and take our money, like, type shit? And I'm like, nothing in reality. Let me get there and let me show up and meet you people.
Yeah, man. So good on you. Great time. But you ready to get to the show?
Yeah, let's get it started.
NFL offseason.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
So we're actually going to do Falcons first.
as the way it should be. We're in the midst of it's no longer tampering period and rumor season. It's pen and paper season, and we've got the pen and paper. And so far, at least through 2 days of pen and paper, we know exactly who we have.
Yeah. So the big things we've done, I got 3 moves. We signed Jesse Bates, safety from the Bengals. Great move.
Huge move.
When's the last time we've had a good safety in Atlanta?
Willie Moe when he's healthy. And he wasn't even a Jesse Bates. Now, it's funny. Jesse Bates has never made a Pro Bowl. He's an all-pro second team, I think 2021.
But did make
But regardless, good player in his prime who can be better. And we get him, and we paid him well. I think they said it was the 4th highest safety deal of all time. He didn't reset the market. It wasn't the highest safety deal in the league. I think Jamal Adams' contract is still bigger than his.
Oh, you mean the linebacker / DN that plays safety?
Yeah, but we got a quarterback for our defense, because if there's one thing that we've got to see the last 2 years of the Bengals is with Joe Burrow obviously manning the offense, they're kind of no-named on defense. But the one thing we knew about the defense was, boy, they got a special safety. Because in the AFC, specifically with all these quarterbacks that throw the ball, I mean, he's the last line of defense, and he's a heart he can hit.
Don't forget about Eli Apple.
Oh, he played with Eli Apple. But just in general, still, if you just break it down seriously, maybe some would argue, because Geno Atkins isn't who he was anymore. You could argue maybe the best player on the Bengals defense we got.
Yeah, so obviously we overpaid for him. This is what happens in free agency.
Slightly.
So, yeah, and not even it wasn't agreed to or anything, but this is what happens. If you get somebody day one of free agency, you overpay for him. It is what it is.
Like I said, he didn't reset the market.
We also brought in Jonnu Smith for a 7th round pick. Jonnu Smith played for the Titans. He knows the system. We talked about this in pre-production.
8 touchdowns last season in Tennessee with Arthur Smith.
Kyle Pitts is not putting his hand in the ground at all next year. We're going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets. I think it's going to add some diversity to our offense that we thought we would have had with Pitts and Hurst together, but Hurst went and got some more money and to play for a winner. I get it, but I like that move. And then lastly, the other move that I care about is we got a quarterback controversy. I don't care what anybody says. We brought in Taylor Heineke, who's a better quarterback today than Desmond Ridder, and they're going to fight for the job. And I think that Desmond Ridder is going to win out in camp, but not because he's the better quarterback, just because he's the guy that we drafted. He has the upside because he's the unknown. We kind of know what Taylor Heineke is. But Taylor Heineke, he's a Georgia guy. He's going to endear himself to that locker room. He's a man's man. And he's going to just do some stuff that Desmond Ridder can't do. And we're going to hear some reports out of camp of how good Taylor Heineke looks. And week 5, week 6, don't be shocked if you see Taylor Heineke starting for the Falcons.
This is what I think. I think he was a great signing because he has won with not much to of a roster to a degree. I guess they have an okay defense there. The Commanders in his time have always been just okay, but I think that's because they've been young. They're like a younger team, but they've been okay. And he did a lot of the winning to make them in that position to be okay. And there was no expectation with him whenever he came in the game, whether it was injured out, or it wasn't Alex Smith. Who was it got injured the year he did take over? Maybe it was Alex Smith. Injury to Alex Smith the COVID year when they went to the playoffs and played Tampa.
The
next year he kind of got the job a little. Somebody was the starter before him. Either way, he used the one plan. And then last season, Wentz got off to like a 0-4, 0-3 start. I think got hurt. He came in. They were in the playoff hunt until basically the last 3 weeks. And then they benched him because they wanted to see what they had in Sam Howell. And they wanted one last look at Carson Wentz before he had to start calling D1AA college games for North Dakota State versus South Dakota.
You're saying Carson Wentz is cooked?
Has anybody signed him? How many more backup jobs are open? Maybe he goes to Pittsburgh or something. I don't know who the backup is there, but like where
Mitch
does he fit in? Well, okay, so Mitch is still there, right? So I mean, name a team. They just the Bills just like it's the Bills. Case Keenum left and went somewhere else, and the Bills signed another guy to compete with Matt Barkley. So it's like, I mean, where's he going to go? San Francisco's got Sam Darnold. Maybe he can go to L.A. Maybe the Rams or the Chargers and back up. One of them.
You know why Carson Wentz can't go be a backup? Nobody likes him. His issues.
He didn't seem like a bad. When the Eagles did win the Super Bowl that year, he didn't seem like he was really in bad spirits. I mean, every time they showed him, it made me think of Lady Antebellum's lead singer in the "I Need You Now" video. He looks just like him. Like he's like smiling. He kind of looks like him a little, but not really. But I referenced that because he that's the way he was smiling. I mean, he was having an MVP year that year, so I guess there was no reason for him to be mad. Even if his backup did win, he knew that he wasn't losing his job, and he still ended up losing his job. He got hurt again, and then the next season he just wasn't good enough.
Sorry, sir. But yeah, then they built a statue for his backup, and no matter what happened, confidence is gone. His confidence was shook, right? But nonetheless, the Falcons are making noise. But the one move that we've been silent on and we haven't talked about it here on the pod was, why were we in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, but we're not in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes? Like, that does not make sense to me at all.
I think the more and more I look at their moves, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Terry wants to put, just based on what I'm saying, based on what's happened so far, the way it appears to me, because now we are out of it, I think, for the most part, because they're not going to cut Taylor Heineke, and I just really doubt that they cut Desmond Ridder. So, like, I feel like we really are out of it now. I think there's only two answers I have to that. One, I think that maybe they want to reset and wait until next year, and the thought is that maybe Lamar sits out the same way that Le'Veon Bell sat out for a year. That could be the case. And then, like, of course, Baltimore won't tag him again at $67 million, whatever that number is. Like, they won't tag him for 1 year to do that. So there's that aspect of it, and that maybe they think that if nothing works out with Ridder, that they can just do it again, because they haven't spent half their money yet. Overall, in terms of what the cap's going to be for next season, like, they have not spent that money yet. Like, maybe that's a thought, or the only other thing could be, of course, collusion, right? Like, they're just –
I think it's collusion. I think it's the agents and the owners saying, hey, he ain't getting this contract that he wants because he's not represented by any of us.
Yeah.
And Machado came out and said last year that he didn't like the Deshaun Watson contract. And what I don't like is specifically to Colin Cowherd, who says, well, you can't do what the Browns do because they're a desperate franchise. But when Matthew Stafford reset the market in Detroit, nobody said, hey, Detroit.
It's not the same thing, though.
Hold on. Nobody said Detroit's stupid. They're overpaying Matthew Stafford to go 7-9. So we're not gonna pay our quarterback who's next up that price. No. Next guy up. Once the market gets reset, that becomes the new standard.
That situation was so different, though. And even for long-term aspect, which I guess we kind of knew long-term the Lions had won the trade, it didn't matter how well Jared Goff had played.
Well, no. It had nothing to do with Jared Goff. I'm saying in general, when Matthew Stafford,
I know.
Matthew Stafford, like,
saying,
every time he reads up, every time Matt Stafford
he's the compensation in paying him.
No, but I'm just saying, every time Matthew Stafford read up, like even his first extension after his rookie contract, he reset the market. Matthew Stafford has reset the market like two or three times. Matthew Stafford reset the market damn near every contract because his initial contract reset the market.
Matt Ryan's done it twice.
Which is why the CBA fucking changed because of Matthew Stafford and Sam Bradford. Then
those are two guys that did not produce at all, like immediately.
No. So, yeah, you bring up Matt Ryan. He's reset the market twice. Lamar Jackson, at this point in his career, has a higher arrow than what Matt Ryan did the first time Matt re-up.
First reset.
He wasn't an MVP yet.
He wasn't an MVP. He was a damn good quarterback. He probably made 2 Pro Bowls in that first like 5-6 years.
Right, but he wasn't an MVP yet. Lamar is a 26-year-old MVP entering his prime who's gotten better.
And Matt, and to be fair, Matt had won just as many playoff games probably as Lamar.
And I don't care.
I think Matt had won the game against Seattle, and that was it. And then we lost the NFC. But we did go to the NFC Championship.
But the playoff games haven't mattered for the quarterbacks. Like this is like a new thing we're bringing up about playoff wins. That was never a thing. It's, do we think you're a starter? Bro, Jimmy Garoppolo reset the market when the 49ers re-signed him. remember that when they signed him to that
they traded like a 2 for him.
And then
they gave him 30-something million, and everybody was like, whoa. Or maybe it was 27.5 or something. Then Matt
it was like 5 years, 125 or some shit like that.
Well, what it is you're right, because that summer Matt signed his MVP contract. The year after the Super Bowl, Matt reset. Matt was the first $30 million quarterback.
But the point being it was always the next guy up resets to market, and we didn't make these qualifiers for whether or not you get to reset the market. If like based on your accomplishments, it goes if we're gonna sign you, you reset the market, and that's the status quo.
And look, I'm not against Lamar like doing what he's doing. We both know what's going on, right? He's getting bucked, but this is my point. My thought is this too, though, with him. He does have a little bit going against him, just in a sense of his leverage is so poor. He's missed games the last 2 years. They could have won a playoff game without this fluke kind of defensive play. That if the backup now Lamar is in the game, the backup doesn't make that. Lamar doesn't make that mistake that Huntley makes, right? Like on that play, I don't think that happens. I think that Lamar does something else and they score. But my thing is that but I'm just saying he's missed games the last 2 years. He does run the ball a lot. Like that's a big part of his game. He can pass, but like I'm not feeding into it, and I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I look at it more now, at least from the perspective of, well, he does have these things in his game to where if we don't know if he wants a guaranteed contract. My issue is that nobody wants to talk to him. That's where the issue comes in for me.
Yes.
Why the fuck would nobody want to talk to him? That's weird. Like that, and that's where the collusion comes in. I wouldn't if the Falcons didn't want to do it, and like Terry talked to him, and like he told Terry, I want let's see, what's 50 a year? I want a 4-year, $200 million contract with $200 million guaranteed. I could understand if Terry was like, I'm sorry, Lamar, we've got to decline that. Like, we will give you a 5-year, $230, and we'll give you $200 guaranteed, but we're not fully guaranteed. Like, I can understand if they talk to him, but they haven't, and that's where the issue is for me.
Well, what if I say I'll give you 3 years, 150?
All guaranteed?
All guaranteed. Or
they need to set it up to where I hate to say all guaranteed. It's one thing if you get hurt.
I don't all guarantee it, right? I make it real weird where I can move the money around to where if you're on the roster, it's guaranteed. Which, like you get your roster bonus or whatever. But we know you're going to be on a roster because we can't cut you. We can't cut you. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where.
But why not make it incentivized?
Huh?
Why not make it incentivized?
He's not going to take that.
But if it'll be fully guaranteed, what's wrong with that?
Well, I can't speak for him, but
I'm just saying, Deshaun Watson's is a weird deal anyway. Like, he didn't deserve a fully guaranteed. The thought would have been Tom Brady, even if he took less money, would be the first person to get that type of deal.
well, the problem with the NFL is that they have not had someone who demanded the fully guaranteed that actually was good and deserved it. Like Kirk Cousins, he got his, but it was a 3-year and he's Kirk fucking Cousins. He's not resetting
And
anything.
his wasn't really, and he was below the highest paid quarterback.
Exactly.
By a few million at that.
But which Lamar is trying to say, bruh, if I'm gonna be on the team all 5 of these years anyways, and you're gonna want to re-sign me, why not just guarantee all my money? Because
I'm curious as to what Lamar. I'm curious as to what Lamar was offered. Like, I think when those details come out, then we can really fully realize the picture. Because if he was, I don't know what he was offered. Because if they told him, "Hey, we will give you the same deal that Russell Wilson got, but up it by $1 million on the annual salary, and your guarantee is more by $5 million," I don't know why he wouldn't take that. Like, I get it. He saw and it's not because, well, they took it, so I should take it. But it's like, bro, you're already going to make more because now you don't have an agent in your deal. Or are they just trying to fucking play with you because you don't have an agent? Like,
bro, they are trying. Think about it. They are trying to play with him because he doesn't have an agent. And here's why I say that. Listen to the media coverage, right? The media coverage is he doesn't have an agent. He doesn't know what he's doing. His mom is probably not the best person to be at that room because when they're being honest, the emotions can set in and this and that. And I go, and I've said this on here. If he was Sam Darnold needs an agent because Sam Darnold needs somebody who needs his agent has to go, "Hey, you owe me one," to get Sam Darnold on a team because he's not good. But hold on, let me finish. But when you are a premier player in the top tier of your position, the standard is always a little bit more than the next guy. You don't need somebody to negotiate that for you because the standard has been a little bit more than the next guy. And then they moved the goalpost for Lamar. He's the guy who didn't get a little bit more than the next guy. And the situation is not different because they could have got the deal done before last year started. Okay, that was the first time he really missed games.
His situation is
and yes and no. He's a fucking MVP. He's a top 7 quarterback in the league. Matthew Stafford, having not won a playoff game, reset the market more.
I'm with you.
Garoppolo started 5 games and reset the fucking market. They're moving.
I'm not saying.
And I know we agree. I know we agree fundamentally, like, at our core of what should be done. And I know you're making the case of why they're not doing it. And I don't disagree with that.
Why.
Yeah, bro, if I'm a fucking owner, I'm not doing that shit either. Fuck him.
Yeah, and the thing is that somebody like Blank, right? Even in Arthur Blank's situation, he would make back the money that he guaranteed him in jersey sales. Yeah, like, I mean, or just anything, and then being on TV and being relevant. I mean, so like he would make that money back, and so he'd be bringing money to the city because more people will want to come here for road games. Like, some people will want to come here for road games, but we would really have a demand because, Derek Carr versus Lamar Jackson Monday Night Football opener in Atlanta or even in New Orleans. I don't care. It could be in New Orleans. You set that up to set the stage for the NFC South this year because you're like, these are the 2 teams with the quarterbacks in the division. We need to see who's the better team already.
So you don't like Derek Carr versus
we have their D-line coaches, our D coordinator, Terry Bonner. There's a rivalry. I mean, we've got back-to-back Thanksgiving. There's so many different things that play into that if you get Lamar Jackson. But now it's just kind of like we might get a Thursday night game against them or some shit.
Bro, we got Desmond Ritter. We're playing at 1:00. all year. Every game.
Did you? That's another thing we need to get into with the NFL too. By the way, did you realize that this year the CBS is no longer and like basically the Chiefs and Bills could play at 4:25 on Fox?
That's shady.
There's no longer a flagship like the top AFC game or AFC team at home playing an NFC team will no longer be the primetime CBS. Now the schedule is how they want to make it. It works, but it sucks because Fox has the better games.
You know what sucks about that? Is that it's Greg Olson and Kevin Burkhardt and not fucking.
But me and you, we've talked about this. It's about the picture, though, man. It's about
true. Yeah. I know.
The post game, the OT. Like,
why did Fox not? Why did Fox just not pay to keep Tony? I mean, Troy and fucking Joe.
Because, man, they were built for Monday nights. Because Monday night needed them, even though they got Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning didn't just want to take over. Because Peyton wanted to do some different shit. Peyton didn't want to be wearing a suit and saying, "That's right, Tom," and looking over to his right. Like, he.
This isn't good. I can't hear a thing. It's been 10 seconds.
What?
I didn't hear anything for like 10 seconds because I assume my internet is being Albany.
It's been doing it a little bit, but this is what I basically said. This is short and summary. All I said was they don't want the Mannings didn't want to do normal broadcast television.
Oh, the niggas lazy. They're lazy and rich, and they got leverage.
And now what it is now they're a waste of money because you did pay Troy and Joe. They're kind of the waste because I don't listen to the Manning cast. I don't give a fuck if LeBron's on there. Bro, if Kobe Bryant's fucking angel came down and him and Gigi were there, I probably wouldn't watch. So it's just kind of like there's nothing gonna make me change from Joe and Troy. And then before Joe and Troy, they took away too much shine from the 3-man booth that they did have with Greasy, fucking Levy, and Mar Levy, not Levy, and Reddick. Like, you know, it took away too much from them. So, like, now it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. And the best part about these telecasts, Peyton Manning outside of Peyton's place and Eli's place or whatever, they literally don't have to do anything else. They don't have to do the car wash. They don't even have to get – and look, I love PTI. They don't have to get on PTI with Wilbon for the 5 minutes like Steve Young used to do. They don't have to do a goddamn thing, bro. They're getting paid to do the football games, and that is it.
Bro, let me tell you what. I love the Manning cast. I did not watch the Manning cast at all this past year.
Because you didn't have to.
And the thing is, and we've talked about it here, you know how much I love Troy and Joe. Because especially like Troy because Troy right now, he's the only legacy guy who's being honest. Troy lived in Dallas. He's around the Dallas Cowboys, and he will rip Dak Prescott if he has a bad game. He will rip Dak Prescott. Tony Romo hasn't said a bad word about anybody since his first year. You know what I mean? Greg Olson, he's still learning. You know, my favorite Fox guy, honestly, is Mark Schlereth, but he's a lineman, so it sucks to be you. The Falcons, we get stuck with fucking Mark Sanchez and
we got him. We got Daryl Moose Johnston. I mean, we got like.
You know the best you know the second best booth Fox had. They don't have it anymore, but the second best booth they had behind Troy and fucking Joe.
Who?
Gus Johnson and Aqib Talib. That was a fucking amazing booth. Aqib Talib, god damn it, his brother did what he did allegedly after that recreation game. So Aqib took a step away from Amazon. but he was so good, and he wasn't polished yet. But the way he analyzed the game as an elite corner and just a nigga, because he just say some nigga ass shit sometimes. Then you got Gus up there just riding. But it provided like a different perspective because so often, for one, you don't have a lot of black people in the fucking booth, for starters. And then the perspective that you're getting is usually like quarterback perspective. That should be soft. Or you get like a lineman. Okay, you got like Schler's a good lineman, cool, decent perspective. Or Jonathan Vilma, a guy who undersized linebacker, against the odds. It's like, yeah, man, I hear you. But when you get like Aqib Talib, who was like him, he was a hellraiser, but he was that nigga. And everybody respected him like in his prime, what I'm saying? And he played for the Patriots, so he know how they do it over there, right? He played for Denver when they won the Super Bowl, like no fly zone. Like his league experience is one of those where he can talk to you very intimately about players that you want to hear him talk about, but he'll do it in a way because he also snatched Crabtree's chain during the game. His draft stock may have dropped because of off-field incidents, Jalen Carter action.
There's that aspect, and then for a guy like him too, he also comes from such a different background. As opposed to, most of the time, obviously, it's quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, he's
a DB. And outside of Coach Prime, I mean, how many DBs do you know in the media like that? I mean, Rod Woodson, I know, has done a little bit of, and so did Charles Woodson. They both did. Charles Woodson, I know, did a little bit of Monday Night but for the most part,
they in the booth calling games.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to the booth, Daryl Moose Johnson was a fullback. Schler's an O lineman. Daryl Moose quarterback. Olsen tight end. He's kind of the first of his kind in that regard.
Yeah, but he's not good.
I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, yes, I guess for all of them, but I'm saying.
I know
to leave. Like, yeah, I'm just saying it's like a little bit. Like he's a corner. And he was a borderline Hall of Fame type corner, right? Like, and that's why
corner than Greg Olsen was tight end.
And I know that we morphed into this conversation via the Falcons First, but I'd be remiss to even not bring up Matt Ryan. That's why even you put up the post of him at CBS, and it's like, no, that's why I say no. I think Matt would be perfect for CBS because he's not really a Fox guy, even though he played on Fox.
He's not good enough to be a Fox guy. His resume is not Fox.
Fox has theirs. They just have their set shit. I mean, I know Peyton and Gronk join occasionally or whatever, and Tony G, like that pregame with Michael Vick and shit, and Dave Wanstead, like those are the people on that first show. But I'm saying the prime time group, Matt fits in good with Nate Burleson, Bill Cowher, Boomer. It used to be Dan Marino. Shannon Sharp used to be on CBS. So I'm saying, like, I think Matt fits that network a little bit better, but we also get somebody that, I mean, his resume would be better than anyone's up there, would it not? Outside of maybe Bill Cowher because he has a Super Bowl. His resume is better than anyone else on that panel.
Yeah, no, he fits CBS. I'm just saying he's not he can't.
Yeah, he just
Matt Ryan
CBS.
Matt Ryan could not go on the early Fox show. He can't do that.
If TNT put enough money into it to where they bid to get a game, Matt could be on the TNT, obviously, because it's in Atlanta, right? Turner.
Hell no. Hell no.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, look, this is what I'm saying. I'm not, because it wouldn't happen, but I'm just saying, what if TNT did set it up to where you had I've never heard TNT put their name in the hat for the NFL. They're in hockey and they're in the NBA.
TNT has Charles Barkley and Shaq. They had D Wade. I mean, D Wade wasn't good on TV, but his legacy. They had KG. No. Hell
Jamal
no.
Crawford's on there.
Yeah, on the B team. We don't see him on Thursday.
He's on there. They be splitting reps at this point now.
Well,
Every other night when I look up, it's that team, then the A team. It's A team, B team, A team, B team. It's not like it's A team, A team, B team, A team.
and I mean,
split reps these days.
And Kenny, as the player who doesn't have the individual accolades, won 2 championships. He played with Hakeem Olajuwon. So, like, nah, bro.
He's a New York legend. Have you ever seen the story of him and how good Kenny Smith actually kind of was?
Well, yeah, Kenny Smith was like that guy come out of New York.
Before he even got to Houston, he was pretty fucking good. Like, he was good with the Kings. Like, he was good. He just sucked.
When Kenny showed up to North Carolina, I don't think he had the same respect for Michael Jordan that everyone else does, you know?
He's a top player in New York City.
Like, he felt like your peer.
Like, I hate to look at it from that New York perspective, but like, damn, that's like a motherfucker. If back in the day, I guess if he showed up to Rucker Park, niggas were like, "Oh, okay, let's play." Like
the Jet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, I forgot what I saw. Maybe it was like a YouTube thing, but like he has a ton of respect from his basketball standpoint up there. He's a dude. He's a dude up there. Like, he's a New York legend.
Hey, so what else do you want to talk about, like, football-wise? You want to go to Aaron?
Let's go ahead. Yeah, that's the top story.
Aaron Rodgers announced on Pat McAfee, which I expect to happen. He's not going to give it to anybody else, that he intends to play for the Jets this year. And this hasn't been a secret. The Jets have known that since this past Friday. He let them know. And, you know, I'm an Aaron apologist. Let me start there, right? So for the Jets fans who are upset that they're signing Aaron Rodgers, you're stupid. You haven't had a 4,000-yard passer since Joe Namath. So be happy that he wants to come play for your team. For those who say Aaron hasn't been speaking to people, Packers teammates didn't know what he was doing, or nobody knew. Well, the Jets came to see him and they had a conversation. So I'm pretty sure he told them, hey, here's what I want to do. Work the shit out with the Packers. Once y'all work out with the Packers, yeah, I'm your guy. I would like to get some of these guys to come make our team better because it makes me comfortable and not just
more importantly, Lee, he didn't say that. They asked him what he wanted. They asked him, is there anyone here that we can add to make you more comfortable? That motherfucker did not come out and tell them, hey, these are my demands. Which I believe every word he said. I know he didn't demand that. They asked.
Well, he said in the interview he didn't say that. He said in the interview he didn't say that. They asked him, what do you want? I want OBJ. I tried to get him when I was in Green Bay, and they wouldn't give up the compensation for him.
He's used to playing in New York. Y'all could probably set up a friendly deal to where it's a prove it type thing, to where you can pay him or maybe give him a player option. I don't even know if player options exist in the NFL, but like, I don't know. They could get creative basically to get OJ there, but he get what he wants because he'll prove that he's who he is.
And bring me Alan Lazard. That's my guy. He knows how I like stuff, so he makes the receiver room easier for the young guys, you know. Hell,
I got him paid.
Bring me Mercedes Lewis. He's the OG. I need somebody to kick it with on the plane. Like, and I think people who are trying to knock Aaron for making that list, dog, I want to kick it with somebody my age after hours. Yes, I'm going to hang out with Garrett Wilson to build chemistry and Elijah Moore, but guess what I'm not trying to do? I don't want to go to dinner with y'all on a Tuesday. If I'm going out to have fun and be like on the scene, we into different women. One, we got different kind of money. Like, I got $50 million a year money. You got a $50 million contract money if you're lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like, we move in different crowds. You can't hang out with me.
That, and then
you can't afford it. And you're too young, bro. I'm 39. You're 25. I was already fucking before you were born.
That, and then if I can find it, you posted it, but the AI response that basically he could go to New York and go somewhere in Brooklyn and it'd be this broken down fucking place where he can do fucking. I mean, I guess I watch shrooms or whatever he wants.
Whatever he wants to do.
Be on some 4 a.m. in Brooklyn type shit, because that stuff really does exist like that, right? Like that shit does exist, and it's just like in New York City, he can kind of. I get the pop. The paparazzi seems like it's way worse in California, of course, because they seem to continue to find motherfuckers like Kanye for whatever reason. They just know where this nigga is, or Kim, they know where them motherfuckers are in LA. But in New York, it's more of photographers not getting videos, but pictures of you walking somewhere.
Bro, and here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is 6'2". I'm not saying he blends in because he's super popular, but physically he blends in. He's 6'2", low 200
long
pounds.
hair. He'll probably wearing a baseball cap.
Bro, he looks normal. He's not 6'5" Peyton Manning walking around here with these thighs and
this long neck and shit.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is like a normal nigga. So I think that because Aaron Rodgers has upset the media because of his non-conventional ways of carrying himself, he's somebody who wants to own his own narrative. He's somebody who will push back on bullshit. He'll say, "Hey, that leak about me wasn't true because whoever got it doesn't know anybody around me. So, no, Shefty, lose my number. I don't know how you got my number." Little stuff like that. Because he takes that approach, I think that he's just not. He doesn't get the best light by members of the media. But dog, Aaron is sitting back. The Packers are being assholes because they're trying to get as much as they can out of the Jets because they know that's where he's going, and because Brett went there, there's some bad blood just because, and they see that roster, they see that the Jets have a better roster than they do, and they don't want them to be successful without trying to screw them over. But I also think Aaron's going to redo his contract,
right?
But he's just not going to leave money on the table for potential stuff. Once you get these guys in the building, then I'll rework my contract to make sure all of it fits. And that's why I don't think Aaron has the trade's been official. I don't think that's why he's there, because he's holding off to let the Jets build the best roster around him. That's what I think.
And they should.
And maybe I'm giving him way too much benefit of the doubt.
I think he would be willing to restructure his contract to fit in more of the guys he wants.
Exactly.
Because for him, if this goes the right way, if it's a Brett Favre to Minnesota situation where year one we go to the AFC Championship and we lose and it's a really close game, I'm all in to return for that second season. But if it's Brett Favre of Jets, I'm out. I'll probably just retire and have done my 1 year in New York. And, I lived in New York. I got to see what the big media, especially if they chew him up, or something. I'm not saying he's a sensitive guy, but what it is at the end of the day, he seems like somebody that doesn't really care for the media to begin with, and that is the media capital. So it's just I don't know how that winning is the only thing that can make that stop. So
yeah, exactly.
I cannot wait for football season too. Do
you think it works? Do you think Aaron Rodgers to the Jets works? Are they a playoff team?
I think it works. I don't know about a Super Bowl, but this is what I do know. I know that it will be good TV.
I think they win the division.
I think the Bills win the division.
I think Aaron Rodgers.
I think we're giving too much stock to Garrett Wilson. I think we're giving too much stock to Breece Hall. I think Sauce is the guy. I do. I think he's a top 5 corner for sure already. I think that those guys did have good years, and I get it. They didn't have a great quarterback, but
they didn't have a good quarterback.
I would say 11-6, 10-7. I could. They're definitely a playoff team, but what they are too is another team that has to go against Patrick Mahomes. You have to go against Josh Allen. Even in that division, maybe Josh Allen's a regular season quarterback.
Who the fuck
I don't give a fuck.
Allen?
Regardless, they win games every year. They win a lot of games. Miami, if Tua can stay healthy, there's a lot of ifs. But that Miami team is fucking humming, brother. They're humming.
Here, Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback in the AFC, will be the best quarterback in the AFC East. And I think they win the division.
Jacksonville year 2. Year 2 with and Calvin really added to the fold. That team had Kansas City on the ropes. They had them on the ropes.
New York Jets, AFC East champions. Book it.
I get what you're saying. They win the division. That is like maybe the hardest division in the because even Bill and them are a game away from going to the playoffs. They beat the Bills in week 18. They're in. Or if Jacoby Myers doesn't throw that errant pass to fucking Chandler Jones for a touchdown, I mean, they're in. They're in if they win those games. Like, you know what I mean? They're in. So it's just kind of like, and the Dolphins fell apart because of quarterback play. So, like, and even then, they almost beat the Bills. And, like, when we were in Tampa, so I'm just saying that's a tough division to just say, he goes in year 1. Robert Sala's there. They got Nate Hackett as the OC, and I get it. There's familiarity there, but Nate wasn't calling the plays. LaFleur was, and we saw what Nate did he got fucking fired. He couldn't finish 1 year as a head coach. So,
well, who the fuck is what? We don't know what LaFleur is. We got to see who LaFleur is this year.
Well,
hold on. When LaFleur took over,
they could be a playoff team.
The Titans' offense got.
Yeah, because Coach Art was calling the plays, right? But like at the same time, was it LaFleur's fault or was it the personnel's fault? He had Mariota in the year that he did it. The year that Arthur Smith took over was the year that Tannehill took over. They made the decision to bench Marcus Mariota, and it worked out. And Derrick Henry obviously is Derrick Henry. So, like, I don't know. I don't look at the little things like that. Like, I think that's a small thing on his resume, considering we've seen what he's done as a head coach, as a play caller, as a head coach. Outside of this year, they won 14 games in the first 3 years.
Yeah. And I just say that LaFleur was blessed to have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. So I don't know what LaFleur was doing as a play caller, especially with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback.
Well, what is he supposed to do with that personnel? Like, I mean, did he not do what he was? What do you expect 13 wins out of that personnel?
No, he did what he was supposed to do.
Aaron Rodgers won more MVPs under him than anyone. I mean, I'm just like, you know what I mean?
No, but he did what he was supposed to do. But when you talk about like the play calling, I don't know what Aaron was changing at the line that made LaFleur look better than he does. You know,
that's not Peyton Manning. This guy, like he's Peyton. Like Peyton was switching plays, and we knew it every time. Aaron Rodgers, but we know what Aaron Rodgers has always been good at. He's been good at pre-snap and getting guys off sides, and then making the moves. Like that's been like his signature about him.
I can be wrong.
Like Peyton Manning was changing the plays. Like we knew he was. But like,
you know, I'm a Rodgers guy though. Like I've never watched somebody play the position on their best day better than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' best day is the best day of quarterback I've ever seen.
I agree. We've agreed about this. We both agree that Tom
even you, Patrick Mahomes,
eye test GOAT. And
no, Tom Brady is Tom Brady.
He's not our best eye test GOAT, right?
Jay-Z's not our best ear test rapper.
Who?
Tom Brady's Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not our best ear test rapper, but like he did it long enough. He has enough. Huh?
I mean, I know you're a Wayne dude, so like you're gonna say
Wayne. Wayne can out rap circles around Jay-Z.
I don't think he had the longevity of the song, like the songs though. Like,
well, yes, and that's where we
beat him in features.
And that's where
that's another topic. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
like,
no, that's what makes Tom Brady so great. When it makes Jay-Z so great, they were always elite. They were never the best, but they were top 3 for so long. You're
but
the
Wayne
best.
had a strong prime only. Like,
Wayne's had a nice resurgence recently too, though. His last 2
I
years,
like the track with the DMX and Swiss Beats. I think that shit's tough. I think
that nigga rap.
somebody put it in the group, and they said something about that was one of his top 3. It's not one of his top 3 verses, but I thought the nigga went. Put it this way. It made me more excited to listen to some more Wayne. Something I couldn't say that I've said in the last 4 to 5 years. Like,
Well, that's because you've been asleep. You've been asleep on him because his verse on Seeing Green with Drake and Nicki Minaj, he was rapping. And God,
but that was how long ago was that? 3 years ago?
I think 2. Just 2.
Look, man, that motherfucker raps too much on auto-tune, and that's like his issue.
Fair.
You know, like
That's
ultimately kind of his issue. Like, so that's why I guess I see the conversation that you're making in terms of it's comparable that way. I get it. So who? What are you saying that Wayne is Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And you can never win I don't think you can win an objective best rapper argument of putting Wayne over Jay-Z. I don't think that's an argument that can be won. I would tell you that I prefer Wayne over Jay-Z. I think Wayne's better than Jay-Z, and I'm a huge Jay-Z fan.
Right.
Just like I won't argue with anybody that Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady, even though I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Like, right. I won't argue it. I just won't do it because I'm gonna lose that argument.
Right.
That's like mixing bleach and ammonia and thinking you're gonna like live to tell about it.
Right. They're a legit, like you can objectively say Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Michael Vick. Like you can easily make that type of an argument. But
bro, let me can I set the record straight on that here because it came up in the group recently. Your brother tried to pull some fucking receipts on me about Matt Ryan versus Mike Vick, and I go, Matt Ryan, best Falcons career ever. Okay, best Falcons career, not the best player to play for the Falcons, but the best Falcons career.
He's the best. He's the greatest Falcon of all time.
Greatest Falcon of all time, absolutely. And when we talked about the Mike Vick thing, it's like, dude, I was black playing quarterback and left-handed during the Michael Vick era. So I will always like Michael Vick more than I like Matt Ryan because I was a fan who was trying to be Michael Vick. I wasn't trying to be Matt Ryan because he came in 2008 and I was in high school playing DB. I wasn't even a quarterback anymore.
Well, but this is the argument even with that. And this is why it's good that you can distinguish the difference. A lot of our people cannot distinguish the difference. Favoritism versus subjectivism is totally different. In reality, look, my favorite Falcon might be Jesse Tuggle, right? Like I can say that as a kid, that's whose jersey I rock. I wasn't even a football player, but if there was a player to me that always embodied, like when I went to games, like him wearing the big pad, like it was just something about Jesse Tuggle for me. He was the best player on our defense. He was the most consistent player. He is the only player that for a decade in NFL history, nobody else has done this. And you can check the numbers. 100 tackles every year for an entire decade. Undrafted player, 5-time Pro Bowler, I think 2-time All-Pro. Guy that if he played in New York might be in the Hall of Fame. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
can make that as a growing up, this was my favorite. But I also know that, well, he's not the best. He's not the greatest Falcon ever. The greatest Falcon ever is Matt Ryan. Like, we know this. Julio is a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion, at wide receiver. And we could all argue Matt probably doesn't get in first ballot. I think Matt does get in. Like, I do believe that he's going to get in. But, like, first ballot, Julio's a first ballot. Dion was a first ballot. Like, these were guys that played for the same organization. And it doesn't mean that they weren't better players than Matt Ryan. But what it means is that Matt Ryan was more important to the city of Atlanta. And whether people wanted to maybe not more important. He was more important to the Atlanta Falcons than anyone else. What he did and what he had to turn around, and like that to me is where I want that difference to be made amongst those that speak on it, because that is like the reality of it. But most people don't want to realize that. They want to talk about Matt Ryan sucked, all this, that, and the third.
Here's something for you, right? Gilbert Arenas got that extension from the Wizards, not because he deserved it, because on the court, but the former owner, who's now since passed away, asked him when he first brought him in from Golden State, I need you to get the stink of MJ off of this franchise. And because because niggas didn't like MJ, he wasn't good and all that shit, right? Because he did that, he was like, I'm giving you this extra max, even though I know you're hurt. Nigga, it's my money. Fuck it. right? Because of what you did for me and delivering us from a dark place in this franchise. Like, you brought light back here. And then obviously he handed the baton to John Wall. And then John Wall and Brad Beal did what they did, you know.
Right.
And similarly, Matt Ryan delivered us from the dark cloud of Mike Vick. And
but did more than anyone in franchise history, though.
Right. But yeah. But he also
won a championship for the Bullets, right? Like,
but all I'm saying is
never won nothing.
I'm saying fuck what Matt Ryan did. That was great, right? I'm saying fuck the Super Bowl appearance, fuck the MVP. That first contract, he brought back optimism to the franchise, to the fan base, that we could be a winner
from day one with this first pass, from day one.
After we lost Mike Vick, who was a fan favorite, rubber band experience, was it AirTran or whatever, American Airlines, whatever airlines it was, he was signed to. Because whatever airlines had that Michael Vick was with, they signed Matt Ryan. When they signed Matt Ryan. Yeah, I know it's messed up. You're typing it saying it's messed up. I know it's messed up.
Well, now I can hear you saying it, though, because it's like slowing you up. I'm like,
yeah, no,
I can hear you. Continue.
I can see that my internet was like, it lets me know when my connection's bad. But no, like,
tell them Google ass motherfuckers to hurry up and get over there. Or is that when you move in to the house?
I closed the 31st. I don't know when I'm actually gonna move. Because I leave here April 30th, so like I got a month, but like push come to shove, I want to get the studio set up first. So I get the internet, and then like I can start recording there because I have fiber.
I knew you wouldn't do it, but you could literally commute every day if you wanted, kind of.
It's mean commute.
Well, you said you close on the 31st, or did you? You saying you did close? You
close. No, I'm closing March 31st. Yeah.
All right, so you close, but you have to be out of there on April 30th. You could. I'm saying you could. I mean, if you wanted to, you could.
I'm going to be living in both houses for that month.
You're saying even after the close, you will move in within in the month of April.
Yeah, we're gonna have everything there. It's just
I thought you were saying that maybe you wouldn't move in until, let's say it was the middle of May, and you had 2 weeks of like, where am I going type shit. Like,
no, hell no, I'm gonna be in the damn house.
You'd be that fancy ass Marriott.
Fuck no.
Hey, they got the bar. You said though.
Yeah, but let's hit a couple of NFL free agency things because we've been here for an hour. Oh shit, no, we didn't talk about the number one pick trade. The Bears fleeced Carolina. The Bears fleeced Carolina.
And they just made another signing. They just made another signing too. By the way, they signed Deontay Foreman to be the backup, or I guess to split carries with Khalil Herbert. So now we know who's taking David Montgomery's spot. They just signed him.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that's a good move.
That's a good signing though.
And yeah, so you throw that in there. There's not a quarterback who I love so much that I would have given up my a 1, 2 2s and a 4 and DJ Moore.
Chicago won the trade, and honestly, Chicago's won the offseason already. Like, I think they've made some really good signings. Not paying David Montgomery was a good idea. Like, in my opinion, I don't think that he was needed, and his production hasn't been that great for them. I think that was they won the offseason. If there was a team, at least through the first 2 official days of free agency, that we could go ahead and say, yep, they've had the best offseason, it was the Chicago Bears for sure. And they still, as they could have drafted at 1 and how it was projected from the get-go, they could still draft Jalen Carter potentially too. Like, man.
Oh, he's because Jalen Carter's taking his value. He showed up to his pro day out of shape on purpose.
Breaking news too here. Marcus Mariota just signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Interesting.
I wouldn't want that guy in my locker room after he left.
But you know what? Now he's also like, yeah, I'm really a backup, even though he's always been one, kind of. At least the last 4 years he's been a backup, and it's just like, I don't know why he didn't think it would be anything different this year.
The way he walked out on us and didn't support Desmond Ridder as a rookie.
Yeah, it was bitch. That shit was that's Bush League.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him in my locker room, but
he does. He does, I guess, a lot of what Jalen Hurts does, just at a much lower level, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he can't complete deep passes. Let me see what else we got.
That too. I mean, well, that is what he cannot do. But
yeah, no, but he can get it there. He can run the offense, so I can say it. Let's see.
He can run that dumbass 1 yard quarterback sneak that they might be getting ready to ban anyways. He could do that, I'm sure. Even though he's not as big, he could do it.
I'm going to throw a couple signings at you. You stop me if you want to talk about it. Darnold to the 49ers.
That's really a waste of a topic. He's third string and will be inactive once Brock Purdy is healthy.
Gardner Minshew to the Colts.
Solid sign, something I thought maybe we would have done potentially, but I like our move. I like we talked about earlier. I like the Heineke signing.
So Gardner Minshew starts the season until AR-15 is ready.
Well, probably Will Levis.
I don't know what's worse.
I don't think that they. I can see perfect scenario. Carolina's probably going to take it. But if I swear, I don't know why. I don't think Bryce Young is definitely not going one. I really do think that they're either going to they like Anthony Richardson or something.
Bryce Young's going to Houston. What we got? Let me see.
Yeah, I was about to say he's set up. I think that's where
Jacoby Brissett to the Commanders. This nigga just keeps getting starting jobs.
I guess I'm curious as to how Washington. It sounds like the way that they're trying to make it. I think that he's going to be the starter from day one, but it sounds like too that they believe enough in Sam Darnold, who I guess was a 5th rounder for them.
Not Sam Darnold.
They believe.
You said Sam Darnold. Sam
Howell. That they believe enough in him as a 5th rounder. They're, I guess, maybe trying to do the Falcon thing, weird, especially. But you know what? To me, he was better in college than Ritter anyway. So it's kind of like I guess I'm not that surprised, but it is still kind of one of those what the fuck type things, you know. But I expect Brissett to low key be their starter for this year.
James Garoppolo to the Oakland Raiders.
Loved it, especially at the value that they got him at. He didn't sign a ridiculously big contract.
22.5 a year. Yeah.
Yeah, he took a haircut even on his max type contract from 5 years ago. He took a haircut.
Yeah, but he got a different tax situation in Nevada than he did in California too.
Well, and he's also an injury prone player, and
going to a guy.
But when he's healthy, he's a winner. So it's like I don't know. I thought that they got a good deal, and he went to a situation where he could win immediately to a degree, and then also he knows the system, so it kind of works. It just works out all the way around, you know.
Derek Carr to the Saints. You hear me? No, you didn't. Can you hear me? We've got dead air. Can you hear me, Parlay Pete? No, you can't.
I can, and now it went. Oh, go ahead. I can see that we're clear here.
Derek Carr to the Saints.
I don't think it's a bad signing for them, but like it just doesn't move the needle. You know, I don't think that gets them out of anything that they haven't already kind of been. Just because he had better weapons in, I guess you could say Oakland, or not Oakland and Las Vegas. So like, I don't.
Jamal Williams to the Saints.
I don't know. They seem like they're going to be stuck kind of where they're at, and they are clearly kicking the can down the road with their cap situation too. Like, there's no way, you know. What was that all about? What was the point of moving the seat? What are you trying to show us here?
I just wanted to make sure they can see those C and cross sabers. Shout out to Cass High School.
Well, we see it.
What else we got? Go
ahead.
Baker to Tampa.
I liked it. I kind of thought that in a weird way that if they weren't giving the job to Ritter, that was kind of who I expected us to sign. If they weren't just going to give him the job, but they also weren't going to draft or trade for Lamar. Like if they weren't going to draft a guy or trade for Lamar, I thought that Baker would have been suited to maybe come even into this situation. Like and literally compete for the job, and then if Ritter beats him, he beats him, and then he's the backup. But I think good move for Baker for sure. But like another one where it really doesn't move the needle for me.
I mean, the big winners of free agency were Baker and Sam Darnold because
they found work.
They found work with the opportunity to start week 1.
Oh, I don't think Sam Darnold starts week 1. I think Trey Lance.
I didn't say he starts. He had the opportunity to start because
I don't think there's any scenario where Kyle Shanahan makes him the starter week 1. I think Baker Mayfield can absolutely start over Kyle Trask. And who knows? Like I said, we really don't because the draft hasn't happened. We just don't know. Tampa somehow, some way. I don't know, could end up with somebody or they draft Hendon Hooker in the second round and are like really just redshirting him or something. Like, I don't know. Like, because think about it, Hendon Hooker was a guy that was regarded almost maybe in the same light as Anthony Richardson to a degree. Would you agree? Like before he got injured, like he was kind of the fourth quarterback, third quarterback. But some people were like, maybe this guy actually has the upside to be a guy in the league. Like, I mean, I don't know. So, like,
I want us to draft Hendon Hooker.
Now, okay, so you're coming also with the expectation that, of course, Ritter is what we think he is, which is a game manager. Yeah, basically 7-10, 8-9, maybe. And like, there's no reason. Well, to the point at where Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot cannot hang their hat on him for another year, because if they survive this year, and that is the case, like we're 7-10. Like we're 7-10, 8-9. Like if we're 7-10 or 8-9 or something like that, to where he's in this position to be able to start.
Exactly. Yeah. So I liked Hendon. I would love for us to catch him in the third round.
I wouldn't be mad if the Falcons drafted him in the third round and he redshirts the whole year. I really would not be mad at that.
And let me tell you something crazy, right? Because Hendon Hooker, he's a UT guy like I am, right? UT Knoxville, go Vols.
Go Vols, huh?
Yeah, I got my acceptance package from Ohio State, and I turned them down. Bruh, they send niggas Buckeyes in the mail. Look at this shit. A Buckeye necklace. Wow.
That's nice.
Yeah, Tennessee.
You could have wore that to the Georgia Ohio State game.
I'm good.
If it had happened prior to that,
I wouldn't have done that because I'm a Georgia fan first still.
Well, there we go. Same thing for when Tennessee plays Georgia, huh?
Yeah, unless I get free tickets from UT, then it's. I'm still a Georgia fan. Hey, but let's close out football in like the next 4 to 5 minutes, and let's talk about some moves that actually matter, some trades.
Let's do it.
Jalen Ramsey went for a 3 to the Dolphins. They pretty much said, Byron Jones, we gave you a lot of money and you did nothing for us. And then you come out and you talk about how you took all these injections and stuff and you can't sit, bend, run, jump anymore. Fuck you. We'll replace you with one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Then we got Stephon.
I think if he did not say that, he was cutting.
Say again?
I think that he's cut. I think he's cut anyways, even if he doesn't say that.
Well, yeah, because whatever he said, they saw. He saw them.
I'm saying, but if he doesn't say it, regardless, I think he was cut because it's just like, bro, this has not worked out.
Bro, if Jerry doesn't pay you, that means something. Like the fact that the Cowboys are cutting Zeke, that means that boy is washed, tossed, bleached, dry. The nigga's dry cleaned. He's done. Put him in the closet. You know what I mean? Like he's you signed Zeke for $2 million.
Is he? I was gonna say, is he a throwaway?
He's Todd Gurley that year that we fucking re-signed. We signed him to the Falcons. He might get a lot of touchdowns in short yardage, but
that's actually fair. Honestly, that is bro. I don't think that there's been a more spot on analysis of kind of really what he was this year. That's exactly kind of what he was, because when they showed his average a game, it's like 58, 60 yards. And then, but like even for us, Todd Gurley had 10 touchdowns. One that he shouldn't have had because, I don't know, he was supposed to stop with the fucking one. And Matt Ryan explicitly says, don't score. It was like the Space Jam scene when Michael Jordan was up to bat and the catch was like, don't swing. And then he's like, I told you not to swing. He's like, I couldn't help it. And it's just like that. But that's exactly what the fuck was going on, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, so that happened, but the Cowboys they have a number one corner now with Stephon Gilmore, and I say they have a number one corner because now you have Gilly, who's going to be your lockdown corner, who showed that he can still lock down, and then you're going to have Diggs, who's your wild card, who's feast or famine, but now you can put.
But Gilly. He's more suited to be a 2 in that situation.
Yep. Like that's scary. And because Dan Quinn has evolved as a defensive coordinator, he's just not going to run cover 3 all of the time. I'm looking forward to watching Dallas's defense play because now that Trayvon Diggs has a legitimate corner on the other side of him, who's 30, 31, he's okay. You know, to see what that's going to look like because he actually can freelance more. Because the guy who's going to make the double move is going to be with Gilly, and Gilly ain't scared of double moves. He's a corner who got Defensive Player of the Year. You know,
Right.
so they definitely upgraded for a 5th round pick, even if it doesn't work. Nigga, it's a 5th round pick. Who cares? And then lastly, in a more dramatic move, Darren Waller goes to the New York Giants for a 3rd round, married to Kelsey Plum. And apparently because Josh McDaniels wasn't invited to the wedding, that's why he traded him. And if anybody believes that horse crock of shit, they're stupid. I'm a Kelsey Plum fan. But let me tell you what. I don't want stuff that happens in my career. And I'm not Darren Waller. Darren Waller may think that's okay. But I'm going to tell you what. I wish Cindy would get to tweeting about a professional decision that I made. Like, hey, yeah, we're upset and we may feel like it's some bullshit, but you don't tweet that shit. Like, what does it accomplish?
There's that. Nothing. But there's that aspect of it. But then at the same time, you literally can, in that situation at least, the WNBA has played over the summer. So that's the NFL's all season. I'm sure Darren Waller's got a house in Las Vegas. They have a house in Las Vegas. He'll have a spot in New York. I mean, these niggas are rich. That's like the crazy part. That's why
he's
I like
rich. I don't know if she's rich.
That is fair too. I bet she's got a fair number of endorsements.
No, she does. She's like she's a premier Under Armour athlete. She gets more money from Under Armour.
I bet that she definitely makes $1 million a year. And she's attractive. Like, in a weird way, I mean, I'm not trying to, and I don't know if they be paying these niggas to do that type of stuff, but like, you could literally look at something like when Balenciaga or somebody has a fashion show and like maybe she walks in it. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they be paying them to do that. I'm sure that they do. There's got to be some sort of compensation that goes hand in hand with that. It's not just promotion of your brand and it promotes me. That's a natural thing.
Cook, I'm out to pee, and then we're gonna go basketball when I get back.
Okay, that's a natural thing, but in reality, I'm sure that she makes enough money and is ultimately not necessarily some sort of a breadwinner or anything, but certainly somebody that can carry her own weight. And at the end of the day, the WNBA season goes on during the summer, and the NFL season's during the fall and winter. So it's not like it's one of those things where it would mess up certainly their love life, I guess you could say. But either way, I thought it was a good move by the Giants to go ahead and get Waller. I think he now becomes their number one target. And then it makes me even more curious as to, just as a fantasy football head, I guess you could say, where does a guy like Darren Waller go in fantasy football now that he's on the Giants? You know, is he still, obviously he's going to be a tight end one, but you know, how many tight ends go before him in that scenario with Daniel Jones? And as of today, at least, until we see if the Giants sign a one wide receiver, i.e. Odell Beckham or something, or two, they draft a guy like, I don't know, maybe it's Zay Flowers or something late in the first round. Who knows? You know, who knows? But he immediately becomes the number one target for that offense. And I think that it kind of works out as long as he's healthy. And it could be one of those things where Daniel Jones gets really comfortable and has that safety blanket, because that is how these guys typically work, these below average quarterbacks. You know, they end up being able to get the guys that they want, but at the same time, they're also able to sign other players to add around it that could be underrated type of guys to add on to an offense like that. So, especially with a guy like Dayball as the coach.
Yeah, so I think Daniel Jones will have a legit number one receiver now if Darren Waller can make it to Sunday. But I also find it funny that they moved off of him in Oakland. And what makes it, I guess, funny to me is Josh McDaniels, being a guy from New England, has his guys,
Right.
You got to fit the culture. And I just hope that he can actually set the culture to where he can get rid of good talent like that and still thrive. Because, I mean, Dayball's proves he could do it because Kenny Galladay was a respectable receiver.
Very much so.
And then Dayball was like, hey, I'm going to go to the playoffs, and you're not going to play, dude. But McDaniels hasn't proven that. And, they talked about a lack of buy-in from, the Derek Carrs of the world and the Darren Wallers, and both of them are out of there. But if you think about it, they're coming off of a playoff season where pit boss Rich Bisaccia, and then a new coach, you want to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. We ain't do it like that last year, and it worked, and this shit ain't working. And you don't have a track record that says your shit works as a head coach. Yeah, I know what you did as a coordinator, but if you know anything about New England, you know that Bill Belichick has his hand on everything.
Absolutely.
He's not, just because he's a defensive coach does not mean he just coordinates the defense. He coordinates the game plan, and he ties his offense to his defense to his special teams. So, anyways, enough of that. Can we talk basketball?
Let's get into some hoops. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a minor little break myself. If you don't mind.
Oh, you take a break yourself, and I'm going to start on street clothes. All right. So, hey, look here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the first hour and some change of the show. Big Baby, not Big Baby, AC Lee and Parlay Pete talking NFL offseason, and, having a good time.